hours. That is a long schlep, but at the end, you're in the Maldives. This is fantasy fulfillment territory. This is the first of what will probably be 8 videos from the Mercure Koodoo in the Maldives. Now, if you don't want to see a lot of tropical imagery, me with wet hair and no makeup, and a body that probably doesn't look that great in its swimming costume, then you should skip the next 2 weeks. But if you want to see more of this, come along.
We started with an hour in a taxi, 2.5 hours getting through Heathrow, then around 7 hours in the air to Doha. We had just 2 short hours there in the middle of the night, which made me nervous for a transfer, but this 24/7 shopping mall and entertainment complex that just happens to also be an airport is a wonder of efficiency. Then another 4 hours in the air to Malé, with a few hours layover in the lounge there, until we finally got to the last leg, 1 more hour south on Maldivian Airways. The view over the magnificent coral atolls as you go, essentially what's left of ancient volcanoes, is extraordinary.
At the end of that long journey is the Mercure Koodoo on Koodoo Island, on the edge of the Gafu Alif Atoll, facing west into the lagoon over a coral reef. The resort has 68 villas, 25 of them tucked into the beach, and the rest strung out in classic Maldivian overwater villa vibe on the reef. All of the villas are stretched out on this crescent-shaped boardwalk. The further along the boardwalk you get, the closer to the reef you are.
Here's what the inside of one of those villas looks like on arrival.
At the center of the resort, and under menacing clouds at the moment, is a clubhouse with the buffet restaurant, a beach bar, and quite a fabulous long infinity pool. There's a spa. There's a lovely reception area with a small shop next to it. There's a dive center at one edge of the property and an Italian restaurant at the other end. You are sharing the island with a fish processing plant and the airstrip that lies behind those palms.
But there are so few flights a day and they're so quiet, you don't really notice.
I cannot tell you how many people react to me going to the Maldives with, "Oh, I'd be so bored. How can you just lay around all day?" Really? I guarantee you, I am quite busy here, and 12 days isn't going to be nearly enough.
I start with morning coffee and a few chapters of my book. I've got 7 novels to get through in 2 weeks.
Around 9 o'clock, we take our first walk of the morning, down the boardwalk, across the lagoon to the clubhouse area for breakfast. After breakfast, I go for my morning swim, and it's a cracking place to take it. It's time for some watercolor.
Not bad.
Now I'm doing a little mini class in the resort's farm garden to learn about coconuts. Why not?
Or we might do a cooking class, making Maldivian curry.
That's curry powder.
High tide during our visit was hitting around lunchtime, which we usually skipped anyway because breakfast was so big. Piers watched as I went swimming. The weather honestly wasn't great. It was hard work fighting against the tides, but I went in when I could.
And with the help of a photo, I try to get what I saw down on paper. I can take a long, thoughtful walk on the beach. After topping up the sun cream and grabbing a mango juice, it's into the pool for the next few chapters of my book. If I need a break from the great outdoors, which happens occasionally, I step indoors to work on a blog or a TikTok video. I'm never far from nature, though, because there's this view out the window and this panel down to the reef at my feet.
We might head down to the lobby to talk about future excursions. Or I can hang out for a bit with a local who turns leaves into art.
After such a busy schedule of activities, it's time for an afternoon nap.
Since every hour is happy hour in the Maldives, 5 o'clock finds me in a nice hot bath. A bathtub with a view.
We have dinner in one of two restaurants, buffet, or across the water at table service.
If we have enough energy, we might stream an hour of video. But we're usually in bed early because it's been a big day and there's more fun to come tomorrow. So many customer loyalty programs are triumphs of marketing over reality. Today I want to do a case study on one that is not, and that is the Club Accor program from the Accor Group. And I'm here to give you this case study from the magnificent Mercure Koodoo in the Maldives. We were here celebrating a special birthday by cashing in loads of points, and the team was obviously celebrating us. This started from the moment the gracious Raushan picked us up from the airstrip, immediately acknowledged my husband's diamond status, and told us we'd been upgraded. To be honest, any overwater villa in the Maldives is pretty spectacular. I had booked the cheapest level one here. The difference with an upgrade was a better view, getting closer to the reef. I suspect everybody gets a fabulous bed decoration on arrival. What a view, even in a gale. I should pause to explain here that our status isn't because we're rich or we splash cash at lots of fancy hotels. For the second time in his life, my husband is living in one of the chain's more straightforward business hotels, Monday through Friday for work. And over the years, we've both become Accor fans, particularly after learning that almost every chain within the brand is dog-friendly. The staff has continued to treat us like royalty throughout. The DJ spinning Mozart for my husband in the pool bar is a particularly nice touch. And that amazing treatment continued when, in the second week, they upgraded us again. Now, the room is much as it was before, but this time we're in a villa with our own private plunge pool and a much bigger deck. Spectacular. Speaking both as an Accor customer and as a marketer, why do I love this program so much? It's not just this Maldivian experience. They communicate clearly, but not too much. Their website and their booking system is easy to navigate and to use. They don't overpromise. They don't take advantage of your membership to send you lots of random partner stuff. Most importantly, when you want to cash in points, it's simple and easy to do. There are no games, no crazy limits, and few exclusions. It is totally unlike those airline programs that make it almost impossible for you to use your points. Next week, Piers is back in a Novotel, and next month we're at the 25 hours in Copenhagen. Neither are quite as glamorous as this, and they'll both be a lot colder. But we know we'll get the exact same welcome. And we'll start racking up points for a return journey to somewhere like this.
It's time for some Maldivian history and culture. After all, that's what I do on my channel. And if I don't teach you something, you'll wonder what the heck is going on.
The Maldives have some of the world's most unique geography. 60 million years ago, this was a string of volcanoes. The volcanoes became extinct and wore away, but rings of coral formed around them, and that is what gives us the 26 atolls and more than 1,000 islands within them that make up the Maldives today.
By elevation, the Maldives is the lowest country in the world. Average elevation across the country of 1.5 meters, which is pretty much what you can see from the waves to the land here on Koodoo.
Rising sea levels threaten the country's existence.
The Maldives didn't invent the overwater villa concept, but they've perfected it, and they're probably the country most known for it. There are 8,000 of these scattered across more than 100 luxury resorts across all of the atolls.
Fishing is just as important as tourism to the Maldives. This is particularly big tuna country. Some of the skipjack tuna that you've had in tins back home may very well have come through the processing plant here on this island of Koodoo. The official religion of the Maldives is Sunni Islam, where alcohol and pork are forbidden. Now, the resorts get special dispensation to serve guests, but if they are caught selling either of these products to a local, they risk losing their license. Big trouble. The Maldives has a unique one island, one resort policy, which means that the brand experience can be contained. You never run into anybody from any resort than yours. We're here at Koodoo. 2 islands down there is the residence, 2 islands up there is the Pullman, and this goes on throughout the archipelago. The first big industry in the Maldives? Cowrie shells. These were used as money between roughly the 9th and the 18th century, and the Maldives were a huge exporter of currency. The Maldives have almost no natural resources beyond fish and coconuts. The local cuisine is laden with both of them. Big tankers circle the atolls, bringing in everything else. This one brings fuel. And that is why everything here is so expensive. Example, $9 for a tube of toothpaste. But hey, that's the price of paradise. The Republic of the Maldives stretches 470 miles through the Indian Ocean, but its square footage in area, only 115 square miles. The rest is ocean, much of it strewn with some of the most beautiful coral reefs in the world. Its economy has always been water-based, from serving people who sail it, to harvesting its treasures in fisheries, to what most people know it for these days, resorts that cater to tourists who want to experience the sea on it and underneath it. Most Maldivian resorts are built on coral reefs, and that's the magic of the places. Put on your mask and fins, take a short swim, and you are in that remarkable place where the shallows drop off into the deep blue sea. This is the house reef at the Mercure Koodoo, and it is a doozy. Of course, there's magic in hopping on a boat and getting a little bit further away. One morning, I hopped over to the reef on the next island, just a short boat ride away, which is particularly well known for its turtles. On an earlier visit to the Maldives, we booked an excursion to swim with whale sharks. This is incredible, but only if you book the small excursions with your own private guide. You'll be followed by bigger tourist boats, and once 30 flailing tourists jump in, the whales dive away. Of course, you don't need to get in the water at all. Most resorts have sunset cruises, which are laid back and generally offer some remarkable views. Here's sunset last night. Of course, to me, the whole point of the Maldives is to be in the water. Whether you're in an infinity pool looking out at the ocean, or you're trying to be a part of it.
Ariel, listen. The human world, it's a mess. Life under the sea is so much better than anything they got out there. The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's bay. You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor. Such wonderful things around you. What more is you looking for? Under the sea, under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore they work all day. Up in the sun they slave away. While we can go to good and
Time to talk food. If you are coming to the Maldives, it is really important that you get on a package that is either all-inclusive or at the minimum half-board. This is because of the Maldives' one resort, one island policy. Basically, each resort is in glorious isolation from everything else. Once you're here, you are a captive audience, and if you are paying restaurant prices for food and drink, your holiday will end up being much, much more expensive than you planned it. The Mercure Koodoo has 2 restaurants. This is the main one that is buffet style. As is typical for all-inclusive resorts and cruise ships, the main restaurant is a buffet with a constantly changing variety of delights. Every night of the week has a theme. From our arrival on Sunday, there was Sri Lankan, then seafood, Asian, Indian, barbecue, Maldivian, and international. This place is a real joy for the curry lover. This is the best laksa soup I've ever had. There's lots of fresh preparation at every meal, crepes and eggs at breakfast, and a central live cooking bar that delivers something different every night. Chef, tell me about barbecue night.
So we over here, starting from here, pork chop out, beef steak, lamb chop. We have a grilled chicken and grilled tuna. We have pepper sauce, barbecue sauce, mushroom sauce, garlic butter, dill cream, and lemon wedges.
My issue with this kind of dining is normally that you miss the local touch, but this is not the case here. Maldivian night was an absolute wonder of specialties, and since tuna is local, there's tuna at almost every meal. There's also a Maldivian specialties stand at every meal. I adored this tuna. If you want a change of pace, you can go out to the Italian table service restaurant on its own pier. Very romantic. Confession time. Unless I'm in Italy or it's made it into Michelin, I usually avoid Italian restaurants. My maiden name is Ferrara, and I'm a very competent Italian cook. But the atmosphere was lovely. We ate here twice, and the chefs really do know their way around an Italian cookbook. I was impressed. I was even impressed with their tiramisu, something I rarely order in restaurants because it's always so rubbish compared to my family recipe. I ordered it a second time, which is the highest praise I can give. So you'll have no food worries at Mercure Koodoo. What's the difference between a 4-star and a 5-star resort in the Maldives? I've now been lucky enough to do both, so let's compare. We'll start with cost. In the second week of March 2026, 2 people in an entry-level water villa on an all-inclusive package would spend just under $4,500 US at the Mercure Koodoo, the resort I just got back from. At the 5-star Constance Mufushi, where I went on my first trip, it's more than $12,000. What do you get for the difference, and is it worth it? Next, the islands themselves. On Koodoo, you're sharing the island with an airstrip and a fish processing plant. Neither are at all intrusive, but it does mean that you're lacking the idyllic feeling of being isolated on a sandbank that you get at the exquisitely beautiful Mufushi. The 5-star Constance is actually bigger, 110 rooms compared with 68 at the Mercure, so despite the much cheaper price, you don't actually feel any more crowded at the Mercure. Rooms are almost exactly the same size, 62 square meters at the Mercure to the Constance's 66. Location. Constance is closer to the capital of Malé, so actually easier to get to. Half an hour seaplane transfer, $600 each. Mercure is almost an hour south, that is $500 each on a prop plane. Food and drink, one of the big differences. This really depends on your style. My husband preferred the Constance, which was much more grounded in French and traditional European cuisines. I love curries. I was thrilled with the Mercure, but the food was great at both places. Most noticeable difference, wine. At Mercure, you order glasses from a limited selection. At Constance, it's whole bottles from an impressive wine list, curated and helped by a sommelier. Service is supposed to be the biggest difference between 4- and 5-star hotels, particularly when comparing staff to guest ratios. Honestly, I felt no difference at all. Stupendous at both places. Both places have exceptional reefs with glorious snorkeling just a short swim from your room. The Constance waters are famous for their rays. I saw impressive shoals of parrotfish there, and the turtles came closer to me. But I actually saw a greater variety of fish, including turtles and rays and bigger sharks at the Mercure. To be honest, the biggest difference was in design style, with the more expensive hotel going for a more traditional Robinson Crusoe barefoot chic look, very, very elegant, where the Mercure leaned towards a more modern, streamlined, functional style, bit utilitarian. If money were no object, I would have loved to have gone back to the Constance for its style, the island, and the wine list. But the Mercure gave me equivalent value on all the really important stuff for more than 60% less. Unless I win the lottery, it's back to the Mercure. One little bit of bonus video from Male's new airport. Architecturally, this hall is stunning. That was 5 months ago, but it's this week I can't stop thinking about that gorgeous new airport in the Maldives and how it's probably sitting empty. It's one of the most gorgeous terminals I've ever been in, and very topical at the moment because it represents a huge investment banking on travel that's all stopped right now. All of the colors of the islands are here. The ceiling could be clouds or waves breaking on the shore. Bring your eye down and it's all turquoise and sandy colors. You got the sea and the shore and the lap of waves. And these boards look like traditional Maldivian buildings. And just after security, you get to this fantastic art installation that puts you on a Maldivian beach at night. So you can be even more depressed that you're leaving the country. Here in the departures lounge, you've got that wavy ceiling continuing, same tropical color scheme, and a beautiful take on traditional Islamic screens. No surprise, as Abu Dhabi, Kuwait, and the Saudis are all major investors here. This is the vision of the Middle East that comes with peace and commerce. This was a 10-year-long construction project, and boy, was it needed. Let's just say the old place was, well, not really what you're expecting when you'd spent years saving for the holiday, flew over this magnificence to get to your luxury island fantasy. Just the crowding alone was enough to do your head in. The old airport was designed for 1.5 million passengers annually, and they were serving more than 4. The disconnect between the airport experience and the island experience was a huge branding problem. If those crowds return, they'll be sitting on the best of modern seat design. Everything had charging ports and USB ports. I was amused to see the same benches we have at Waterloo Station here. They just look a lot nicer with palm trees and sun. Construction ran 6 years over schedule. Total cost almost $1 billion US, more than 100 million above budget. There's just one tiny example of why the Gulf states would be so keen to get this whole situation in the Middle East over as fast as possible. Made me feel a bit better today.